Well, hello guys. I'm sorry I've been gone for so long. All the changes to YouTube have really de-incentivized me to making videos. I never know what I can say and what I can't say. I have other channels that were growing well, but then all of a sudden all my videos get demonetized. The videos get strike down. I just I just keep waiting to finally hear about, what the rules really are. Everybody's seen videos about the vague fucking rules that are actually on the books, but I mean, it's like, what's really being enforced, I mean, we all know it's illegal to jaywalk. No one goes to jail for jaywalking, except unless you're on YouTube. I can't believe it. My channel, over 1,000 subscribers now. That's crazy. One of my videos is up, it's over 180,000, which is it's closer to about 250,000 because I took it down. That was like the first video I noticed that had been demonetized. This is back 2-3 years ago. And so I took it down thinking it was a mistake, like I used the wrong tags or some shit like that. And I put it back up and it was instantly demonetized again. So I was just like, well, what the hell? And then right after that, I just kind of fell off, with all the shit with the girl in California, and just, my life went into a tailspin at that point. I've been doing well for like 2 years now, about 2 years, and everything's fine. I've just been making videos for another channel that I thought was going to be more fun, but YouTube is fucking me at every turn. I don't do this for the money, obviously. I don't make any money, but it's sort of like a metric you use to see, like, am I doing better? I'm making more, so I must be doing better. My ad revenue has gone down 75% in the last 3-4 months. So it's just like AdSense is not where it's at anymore. Only a person with like over 150, thousand subscribers could survive, even in a goddamn dumpster or cardboard box with AdSense money. Whereas before, you could, I've seen people who only have 20,000 subscribers quit their job, and make YouTube their full-time job. And it's like, whoa, shit, well, I can get to 20,000 subscribers. But now I just don't even know if it's worth it. And I've toyed with the idea of Patreon and, all that shit. But I don't know. I don't know if I don't know. Once you start taking people's money, then you actually have to produce something. So it's kind of, I don't know if I'm really prepared for all that. But you know what? I'm going to start making videos for this channel. There's going to be a video right after this where I address the real reason why I've started, coming back right now. For right now, I just want to say thank you for subscribing and viewing my content and sharing it. I really don't know. I know a lot of shit, but I really know addiction and human behavior. It's one of the areas that, I've gone through a lot of pain and a lot of the painful lessons. And I'm not intimidated at all to have conversations with doctors, PhDs on the subject. I've had doctors tell me that they could smoke crack or that they could do heroin and then the next day go right back to work as if nothing had happened. And I'm like, well, maybe you could, but I promise you it will affect you. And they look at me and they roll their eyes like, no, it's just a chemical. And it's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. The way they address the issue, it's like, you obviously do not understand the gravity, that's involved in addiction. And that's dangerous. Doctors think that you can that having willpower and some self-respect is going to get you through it. And ultimately, that is what gets you through it. But in the beginning, you don't have any of that when you're an addict. That's the first thing to go, is self-respect and fucking willpower. You get ground down to you're nothing. And that is usually at the point where people are like, well, shit, I need to make a change. But that's if you're lucky. If you're not lucky, you will find a way to maintain a lifestyle just barely above fucking, living out of a dumpster. and think that that's okay. A person can get comfortable with just about anything. Any living situation can become comfortable if you stay in it long enough. My point in saying all that is just to give you some reason to believe in what I'm saying. My methodology for getting clean, for changing behaviors, is not going to work for everyone. And it's not going to work for everyone because not everyone thinks like me. But for some people who do try all the other methods, the AAs, the checking into rehab, family interventions, all these little things that society puts in place that usually cost a fortune. And when those things don't work, you feel hopeless. Like there's nothing left for me to try. I'm just going to be this way forever. And that's where a person perhaps do better with my method, which is one day at a time, like AA, but it's not necessarily total abstinence at first. You have to get a baseline. You have to understand what you're capable of, and what you're capable of grows the more you accomplish. When you first start getting clean, you're not capable of much, you may be capable of not shitting in your pants, but that grows. Eventually the drug's out of your system and all you have is the mental addiction, that yearning to do it again, to feel better. And you have to learn how to see triggers coming. You have to realize that life is never going to be as easy for you as it is for the idiot with the garden gnomes across the street, that bitches at you because your dog shits in his yard. That's the biggest problem in that guy's life. But that is never going to be you. Life will always be difficult. But if you just keep at it, it becomes less difficult. When you're working out, no matter how hard any exercise is, it becomes a lot easier the more you do it. And life is not about avoiding painful situations. That is the pitfall that has caused all this outbreak of addiction in the U.S. and I'm sure Europe. I don't live in Europe, but I'm sure we're pretty equal societally. Is this propaganda, that gets spewed at us from marketing, that we should buy things, that we should make investments based on our emotions and what makes us feel good. Well, addiction's the flip side of that. It's that you should avoid any negative feelings. And that's what is at the core of all addicts' problems, behavioral issues, is that they are trying to escape a negative emotion. That if we were a more responsible civilization, we would teach these people that not all emotions, not all negative emotion is something that you should run from. You need to deal with this shit. You shouldn't necessarily put it out of your mind. You shouldn't seek ways to make that pain null and void. It is there, and it will hurt until you deal with it. And that's the problem that really keeps addicts going and going and going, is that they never deal with their problems. They just get high. And even once you've dealt with some of the major problems, you'll likely always have sensitivities to things, and why, I don't know. I think about these things all the time, but I don't have all the answers. One of my issues is sex, sexual desire. I can go a long period of time without really thinking about sex, or having a girlfriend or things like this. Like they're really kind of secondary. Like I never think about that shit really. But then occasionally I do. And when I do, I think about my youth growing up, getting high. And I don't think I ever had sex with anyone in an unaltered state until I was, it was probably until I was in my late 20s, like 28, something like that. So my entire life pertaining to that was linked to drugs. So anytime I feel arousal, I feel like I need to get high. And it's something that now, the last few years, I've really kind of got a handle on. And I avoid certain things that will trigger that. That's an example. There's lots of things in my own life that will that put me in danger, and it's anxiety, fear, feelings of insecurity. These are the things that are at the bottom. These are the painful, it's like getting glass in a wound and then the wound heals up. And then later, like every time you bump that wound, the glass moves around and cuts you up inside. That's what these problems are. And instead of getting the glass out, we just take Oxycontin or we inject heroin or we do something else that allows us to bump that spot as many times as we want, and we don't feel it. And these are problems that I think everyone has. Not everyone finds drugs as a coping mechanism. A lot of people eat, a lot of people watch TV, escape into fantasies, on TV or in books. That's what I did before I found drugs. Was I read fiction books. And I just devoured hundreds of books before I was even out of middle school. I had an entire closet full of books. It got so bad that my English teacher actually wrote home to my parents that I read too much, that she thought I was avoiding something. And she was right. But anyway, this video is long, and I am making that other video right now. I'll probably upload these together. But I'm just saying all this to let you know that I am passionate about this subject. I enjoy making videos about this stuff and feeling like I'm helping in some small way. And I'll continue to do that whether I make any money on it or not. YouTube is really fucking up. And I like the comment sections. I thought it was bad after Google Plus got started, like with comments. Now I only get alerted to 1 out of 100 comments or 1 out of 20 or something like that. Because so when I see a comment, I'll click on it and it takes me to the fucking video instead of letting me a reply right there. And then I see that there's just tons of comments that I haven't even seen. So I know that it's just all screwed up. YouTube is trying to push people like me out, and anyone who has, basically, if you can't picture your content being on television, then you can expect to be pushed out of YouTube. At least you will not be getting paid by Google. Google AdSense will not be helping you at all. So I don't know, maybe in the future I will start a Patreon or something if there's any interest in that. I'm not going to beg people for $5 a month. If that's all I'm going to get, then I'll just not do that. So, but I have the same bills to pay as anyone else. And trust me, there's people in my life that think doing this is ridiculous. That I am being a child, because I'm doing this instead of working. I don't know, this feels very fulfilling to me. Whereas a 9-to-5 job doing what someone tells me to do doesn't. It may pay the bills, but it's just robbing me of my life. So I don't know. In my ideal world, I would make a living doing what I would do even if I didn't get paid doing it. Let me get to work on that other video. It's amazing that I'm over 1,000 subscribers now. I am going to be giving this channel, I'm going to say, probably my primary attention from this day on. Because my other channels, they're either bullshit or they're not bullshit, and I really like them, but YouTube is going to crush me. It's going to crush me on those channels. I just know it. Anyway, stay tuned. I am going to have another video here momentarily.